Hey, welcome back to the Ladies of Sosa with no ladies. So, y'all know what time it is. It's one of those episodes where the girls let me take over so that we can have real men conversation. This episode is on toxic masculinity. I'm Emmanuel Angoy, and these four brothers next to me are...
Arnab.
I'm Kayam.
AJ.
Garang. Majak.
All right. And
KK, nice to meet y'all.
Nah, because ICE is checking phones now. You can't say your real name.
y'all not from the government? Hey, wait, are y'all not citizens?
Don't matter.
Hold up. Are you FBI? Are you CIA? You ISIS?
ISIS.
Same thing, you know what I mean.
You know, if
Yeah,
English is my third language, man.
I'm too
Are you
black.
ICE?
I'm too black not to be Boko Haram. I'm
Get
not
to the
ISIS.
point.
Anyways, all right.
You would be deported first person if I was president.
I would deport me.
Get to the point.
I'm an asset to the United States. Anyways, this episode is on toxic masculinity. And as you can see, I have the toxic and the masculine sides. Hey, next to me. So, from last week's episode, KK, what specifically about that
Say
episode?
sorry before you talk.
Wait. You point at the toxic and the masculine side?
I said both.
You said you have the toxic and the masculine. What is
I
it,
don't
man?
like that.
So this episode is supposed to start about toxic masculinity.
So why
let's
you
get
think
up
we're
out
toxic?
of it. All right.
This is why I can just talk to everybody.
Relax. All right. Okay, most of us here grew up with specific ideals on manhood and what we view manhood as. What to y'all is toxic masculinity? Starting off from this side to over here.
There's no toxic masculinity. I don't believe in such thing as toxic masculinity. It's toxic people. There's no gender attached to it. There's toxic females, there's toxic men, there's toxic dogs, there's toxic everything. But toxic masculinity, I don't believe in it.
What do I think is toxic masculinity is the question. I believe there are aspects of masculinity that can be toxic, but depending on the context of where they're taken.
I guess I'll look at toxic masculinity as like questioning another man's humanity because they don't fit your standard of what a man should be.
Ooh.
Yeah. Hey, toxic masculinity. I don't know. I think it's when a man, takes advantage of something that, is one of their strengths and uses it to manipulate women. So I think that's when it gets toxic. But, anybody could be toxic in a sense. I don't think it's yeah.
Yeah. So my name is AJ. I make content on TikTok, mainly just talking about black people, the black experience throughout the entire diaspora. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, moved out to Dallas, 2021. Been out here ever since, and that's all I got pretty much. I ain't that excited.
All right. My name is Garang Majak. I'm a fashion model, as y'all know. I'm an entrepreneur as well. I'm venturing into the social atmosphere, the space. I love Jesus. That's one of my passions. That's who I am.
I guess I'll go next. My name's KK. I'm a Dallas transplant. Been here 3 years. I am in the logistics industry, and I like to poke at the bear.
The woman will choose the bear.
And I'll
over
poke
the
both
man
of them.
My name is Tariq Arnab. I'm a business data analytics professional, I guess. Jacksonville, Florida is home.
Duval.
I'm just here in Dallas for the vibes.
Okay. So I asked y'all specifically about specific ideas of male masculinity that y'all viewed it as. Do y'all feel like there are any societal perspectives that aren't necessarily masculine but is viewed as masculine?
Should I be funny or should I not? I'm kidding. Societal norms that are not masculine but viewed as masculine. A thing called chivalry, opening the door for people.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be, you let the ladies in. So what if I open the door for the homies? What am I doing then?
Mm-hmm.
What if ladies open the doors? Are they masculine?
I don't know. I like a girl that takes care of me, so I'm not in this count.
Y'all gotta stitch me out, man. I can't
I think no, I think
I'm
he is
being
right. I
serious.
think there is that chivalry where it's like when the Titanic was sinking, it's like the woman and the
Save the women and the kids.
and the children first, and it's like, well, if we gonna be equal, it's whoever gets to the boats first at that point. But then it's like you have to pick and choose. Do you want this patriarchy-led society where you want a man to be a provider, you want a man to be a protector, or do you want everybody to be equal? And at that point, then you cannot tell me like, oh, I need you to be a provider for me, because I'm not going to be providing for you at that point. We just equal.
It's
going to
more
be 50-50 at that point.
it's more the fact like the norms of what a man should be. A man can't even just feel like normal feelings. Say someone breaks into your house middle of the night, you can't even be a little bit scared. Like you have to get into defense mode, war mode from the jump. What if you just rolled over, you having a good dream, you're like, damn, motherfucker just broke in my back window. I don't know who it is. What if he got a gun? I can't go down there and be scared. My lady gonna look at me like, why are you hiding?
I mean, when it comes to like patriarchy as a whole, it's it's something that a system that men put in place, and now a lot of men feel trapped by it. So it's like the toughest part about it is, as you kind of breaking it down, and I think a lot of men are doing that subconsciously. Like dudes are talking about how they, you see it on TikTok or you see it on social media, dudes, doing the girl dances. The girls are like, oh, where the boys at?
Where the boys at?
You
That's
see
a
all
new
this shit,
thing.
and like everybody mad confused because nobody want to admit that they just no longer like patriarchy.
But they like patriarchy when it benefits.
Yeah, and that's everybody.
it.
Everybody cool with something as long as it benefits them. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So when it really come down to it, like everybody gotta get to the point to where they comfortable saying like, hey, I know I benefit from it, but if we don't all benefit from it, it's not gonna suit us. And it's kind of the same thing as like, if we all ain't free, ain't nobody free.
Correct.
Yeah, no. For real, it's like society for sure mixed leading, providing, and finances, and that's what you should be doing as a man. That's a man. You should lead, you should provide, and you should have the financial stability to do that. But realistically, as a man, when you're growing up, you gotta find yourself. Number one, number two, you gotta pave a road that you possibly haven't seen before, and people are looking for a man that has already done that when they're looking at 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, people that are still trying to figure it out.
Even
So,
26.
Yeah, 26.
Still
Some people
figuring
still
out
trying to figure it out. And then women, especially in today's society, they have so many avenues that are advocating for them to get financial help, for them to get assistance in a way that they have financial provision at an earlier age than men, or in an easier way that I've seen than men, because men have to, strong arm it the whole way. So it's kind of, I'd say it's a burden that they put on the men's shoulders, that you have to be all three of these. And it's just kind of interesting,
When you speak about like coddling, especially when you're talking about that, like I've heard a lot of narratives talk about how young black men are coddled in the home.
Yeah.
And the way that we look at them as they get older. Is it that these young men are coddled or they are not parented enough and led to becoming men? Like, so the idea of, oh, boys are easier. So you let them run amok and do their thing without actually giving them the tools to be able to be successful in the future. So once he hits 19, 18 years old, hey, you grown now.
Yeah.
Get a job.
Yeah. I think it's a team effort, right? It's not just about what's happening in the home. It's like what's happening when they get outside the home too. Because your parents could be doing everything they can to equip you, but you can go to school and be getting taught the wrong things. How many schools you've been to where they're teaching you finances? You know what I mean? And if they throw you in a world and you don't know how to handle your finances, you're cooked.
So this leads to another topic we were supposed to speak about, which is why are young black men not going to school, right?
Yeah.
You spoke on this, I think on TikTok.
Yeah.
And is it socialization or is it on the specific young men on the reasons why they're not going to school?
I think a main reason a lot of young black men, and the issue with black men majority across the board, like we like instant gratification when it comes to finance. Why go do 4 years and I go get a certificate and make X amount of money? We want the quick, fast route to get to the destination, and the destination is making a check. So why would I go spend 4 years trying to figure out something, get a job that pays $60 a year? Where I go be an electrician, go be a plumber, go get my CDL, become a carpenter, whatever it is that you want to do to get to the. You want to get to the end means. The end means is making money. So a lot of people, especially a lot of black men, and like you said, some people are coddled, some are not. Some people are thrown into the water at a very young age, and you got to sink or swim. You better learn how to tread water, and you better learn how to keep yourself afloat. And sometimes you cannot afford to go to school while trying to keep yourself afloat. So you do the next best thing is getting a certificate in something that can get you to that next step or get you a little bit more money. Go get you do a course in IT for 20 weeks, whatever it is. But these are the things that a lot of black men are now doing because it gets them to that destination where they want to be financially a lot faster.
But
Than going to college.
But a lot of that is because one, I don't think black boys are coddled. I think they are. I think that's this. It's a negative narrative against men in general, and also there's a lot more avenues for men to make more money without a degree than there are to females. If I ask you, can you give me a female profession that makes 60,000 and up without a college degree, and you can't say hairdresser, you're very limited by it. But for a man, I don't need a college degree. I have a college degree, and not once have I ever pulled it out at a job interview. They'll probably do a background check. They'll probably find it, but what not. But for a man, you can become an electrician to make 100,000. You can become a plumber and make 100,000. You can become a carpenter. You can become constructions. You can do so much. There's so much avenue for you to
Crane
get
operator.
to get that money that you need without being saddled by $100,000 student loan that will basically strap you for 30 years. Because a lot of people don't realize these student loans, one, you cannot, if you do a bankruptcy, the student loans are going to be there. If you pay the minimum, you will be basically on 100,000 student loan, you're paying about 400,000 at the end of it. So one, college is not the avenue that every single person should do, because for a lot of times it's, if you are going to get a college degree, unless you are ready to get a master's or a doctorate, most jobs don't care about your bachelor's degree. They care about your experience. And I think a lot of people, they have this notion where like, I got to go to college. And it's like, no, you don't. If you're 18 years old, don't go to college, because you're going to fail the first year if you're not able to get that financial help that you need, or you're going to be saddled with debt. The better thing to do is find a trade, or go to the military for 2 years and have the military pay for your whole college, or find a trade and then go to college once you find that passion that you need. Because a lot of people just go to college and then they just be like, oh, I'm a business degree holder. It's like there's millions of people graduating with a business degree. You're not standing out.
I think the most important thing is, for a lot of young black men, my message is, I'm a college graduate, but like Tariq was saying, a lot of people don't use their degrees, or they've even pulled out their degrees for jobs they've had. And I think the biggest thing, if you are going to go to school, have a clear idea of what you want to do.
That's STEM.
From the jump. Because if you go in not knowing what you want, it's just time wasted instead of time gained. You can make something out of yourself in that time that you wasted.
Why is it that we pretend like college is a waste when it could be a great education for a young black man to understand their own history? I think
it's not a waste if you just go into a business degree. If you're doing STEM, whether it's science, technology, engineering, mathematics, then yes, you need that college degree. But if you just want to become a business, I just want to get a business administration degree.
Get a degree in history.
Are going to
degree
become a
in English.
Okay, first off, history and English are probably some of the most important things we need right now.
Show me somebody that has that degree and is making what I'm making.
Dr. Mark Lamont Hill?
He has a doctorate.
Doctor. Bachelor degree.
Doctorate degree.
You want me to go do 8 years?
8 years of learning black history, something that most of us know that a lot of these street dudes have no idea what's happening to them. Like a lot of people, especially black men, don't understand. The
majority of street dudes know a lot more than people that got business degrees. They know how to invest their money. Yep. They know how to double their money. They know how to get their ROI. They know how to distribute. They know how to logistics, everything that you need in business. So the streets will teach you more than what a business degree would teach you.
It is, but I'm not saying I'm not going for the business degree. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about learning from
streets either.
Like, and I'm learning from history. No streets. And I'm talking about advocating for yourself as a young black man. Right?
You can advocate
understanding what the system is doing to you.
The biggest thing, self-education is the most important thing. You can advocate and teach yourself the things you want to learn. YouTube University is a thing.
When it comes to it, you got to look at it for like young black men in America. You caught in between the intersection of patriarchy and systemic oppression, because right after, during like the Reconstruction era, maybe a little bit before, a little bit after, like there was vagrancy laws. So basically like black people, let alone black men, like if you didn't have a job, they was gonna make you a slave again. So it's like, when you get out of high school, it's like, damn, like what am I gonna do? I don't want to become a criminal. So you kind of pressured, and then it's like, okay, as men, we supposed to have money. If we want to talk to the girls, we got to do this. So it's like a mix of capitalism, patriarchy, and systemic oppression that like make young black men so confused. And then like when you going through the education system, you don't learn nothing about yourself, and you have to do all that work outside of school. So it's like a lot of young black men, when they do kind of do the work on, just what it means to be black in America, they come to like two different conclusions, which you can't really say one is right or one is wrong. It's just whatever's best for you. Some young black men are like, college ain't for me. This is a system that's, been used to oppress me. I can go learn and do more on my own. And then you got other black men that are like, yo, I'm gonna go in there, and go through the system, and I'm gonna see, what works and what can I take and go back. And like in my personal experience, like I went to college, and like at that time, it was just something that I was told to do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times it come also with our parents where it's like, oh, you're supposed to get an education, and then it's just what you're supposed to do. You're not taught to question an education, let alone question your parents. So, when you get to the point to where you're 18, you can, make your decision. You like, damn, you still probably living with your parents. So you got to kind of do what they say. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna go to school. And then you go into school, and then, you go into school and you still trying to figure it out at that point, because our school system don't set you up to really know what you want to do. Like they don't give you the option. So like at 18, you got to decide if I want to be a plumber, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a salesman, whatever the fuck you want to be. Like it's up to you. So, you got to kind of rush through this process of finding yourself. And I think that's like where patriarchy don't really benefit anybody, but at like some points it give women like a little breath of fresh air. And that's the one time that they give women a breath of fresh air, because women can like sit back and decide like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that, because they not expected to bring home bread. So since they don't got that expectation, they can take more time with their choices. But also for black women, if they don't make that choice and they don't make it in a decent time, they caught between two things as well. They either, they gotta either, push towards, finding a husband that's gonna provide for them, or they gotta, provide for themselves. So they also caught too, because they like, damn, like I don't want to just be some nigga housewife. Correct. And also, you know what I'm saying, I also don't want to be by myself. So it kind of put everybody at, conflicts, and you're not well represented as a black man. You know what I'm saying? You go on college campuses, you might, they see you on a, Ivy League school campus, and shit, oh, something happened, something got stolen, whatever the case may be, police on your ass. Like, it's a lot that go into it, and I don't think there's one right answer. I just think that we got to take a look back and look at, things situationally, and then provide people more options at a younger age. Because, the one good thing about the internet now is that people, get to see a lot more of the world. The problem is what people are being fed when they go to the internet. You know what I'm saying? These young boys, they see all this red pill content, all they see is Fortnite streams, all this other shit. Like,
do you think red pill content makes younger black men very susceptible? Because I've seen the intersectionality of red pill content and hotepisms, and they get together in that perfect moment where they get a young man that's proud to be black, and it's like, oh yeah, these people speaking my language.
Yeah, but like the thing about it is like people, they don't realize that it's a slippery slope. Like as they go into that, like the minute you get into red pill, you start dipping your toe into white supremacy. Like, you know what I'm saying? The minute you get in there, that's because what are they telling you? Like, okay, eventually it's okay, as a man, you gotta, work out, do this. And it sounds good at first, but then it's like, isolate yourself. Okay, you gotta work out. And then they try to make you give yourself some backstory. Like, oh, this girl broke my heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, these niggas think they anime characters. Like, oh, this girl broke my heart, I gotta go work out. You know what I'm saying? They in the crib by themselves. They not doing nothing. The only time they get social interaction is they on the game, on social media. And then they go out into the real world, and like they already told to isolate yourself as a man. And if you want to make money and be where you at as a man, then you got to not focus on women. So now you got two dudes. You got the incels that are like, I ain't dealing with nobody. You know what I'm saying? And they by themselves, they feel like women is, I don't know what they feel about women. But then you got the red pill dudes that are like, yo, like women's supposed to bow down to me. So you go out there, none of them got experience with women, and then they go out there, do some weird shit, and then they wonder why the world look at them strange. But, when it come down to it, it's like what they trying to do is pull these young black boys that's already going to be on the internet down this pipeline and isolating them from the community. And then when they do get a sense of community, it's these hotep dudes that are like basically pushing another form of white supremacy in the guise of,
I'll tell you what it is. It's nerds that are taking over this world and fucking it up for everybody. It all comes down to nerds who can never talk to no woman, and now they get into this. They get money and they think, oh, this woman likes me for me. They find out the woman likes you for their money. Now they're hurt. Then they go online. So it all comes down to nerds messing up everybody, from Elon Musk to Jeff Bezos with testosterone, those fresh and fit guys who are all a bunch of nerds, and that's all it is.
Nerds.
Because it's hard to get a woman these days. Because you're not competing against the men in your city. You're competing against the men on the world. Because
men on the internet.
If you ever go to your girl's DM and be like, yo, can I just see your DM? There are men who've been saying, "Hey, how you doing?" for the past 6 years. Every year in the same year, "Hey, how you doing?"
He said the same.
No reply. "Hey, how you doing?" the next year. "Hey, how you doing?" And all it's gonna take is one time that they think that you responded to them, and then they'll just crash out. Be like, "Oh, so you don't want to talk to me?" Be like, "You've been saying, 'Hey, how you doing?' for 7 years straight. It's not on me." So I think it's for men at least. It's like it used to be. If you are an okay guy, you just had to deal with the men that's in your city, and you got the woman that's in your city. Now it's like you
dealing
deal
with the
with
internet.
women with the whole world on their fingertip, and they can choose. They don't have to be with you.
And the worst part,
they'll fly them out.
the worst part, the internet does play that factor because it puts access to everybody and anybody.
Yeah.
Where there's random guys, Drake sliding in this guy's girlfriend's DM. Now she feel like she don't need him because she can get a guy like Drake, not knowing he's wanting one thing from you. But it's more not. I'm just using Drake as an example. I'm not saying he did so, but I'm saying it's more the facts like the standard of. It's harder for some of these guys to in the dating scene because the standards of what women say a man is what they want out of a man. They want a built guy that's ready. Like I said, a Build-A-Bear type of guy. The last time I said this, and sometimes you got to find someone you just work with, you mesh with, you grow together, whatever it is. And a lot of women are not willing to do so. There's songs, Lotto has a song called Brokey. Imagine if a man did the same version of a song.
I don't want no scrub.
But here's the thing. We're pretending like they actually believe those songs because I put it like,
they do.
No,
you
no,
have them from doctors to strippers singing the same thing.
Okay. They singing the same thing, but they don't.
Their mentality is the same way. They're wired the same.
We sing songs about shooting brothers in the streets, and we don't do that.
We don't sing songs by degrading women.
Yes, we do.
How?
What are we talking about?
Have you ever called a girl Brokey?
Bro, we listen to Sexy Red calling girls whores.
Sexy Red is a woman doing this.
Okay, how many songs from
She's talking
1995
about a
to
Buddha
now?
being brown type of deal. Like, come on, bro.
We got Biggie Smalls talking crap. Every rapper has been talking about black women in a derogatory term, but we don't believe black women are like that because we love them, right?
But women think men are like that, and they degrade us.
Some of them.
No, okay. Now this is a prime example of like the vocal minority always sounding like the voice of the majority.
Call me minority.
Yes. Okay. Look at me, I'm major, bigger than you. You matter. But continue. My point is, my whole point was like, I think. So do y'all believe? Okay, I'm gonna relax. Do y'all believe that a lot of the times this is a case of men and women comparison being the thief of joy? So we look at what we can potentially attain, but we're not okay with just being normal.
Facts. And I live by the motto: the grass is greener where you water it.
That's a
Not
fact.
the other side. It's greener where you water it. People say the grass is greener on the other side. Go to the other side. You're gonna find it the same way if you keep behaving in the same manner. So the grass is greener where you water it. You got to apply yourself and put your energy where you want to put your energy.
Yeah, and I know your question is why do guys gravitate towards it? I mean, it's why are we all in this room? Like, it's sense of community. You know what I mean? And it's the only sense of community that a lot of these young boys may seem to get or think they gonna get or, whatever is going through their mind. And that's what they plan on. We live in like this individualistic society that, sets us up to everybody got to do for themselves. And you guys were saying it before we started. You was like, damn, like where are all the, grannies cooking the food and stuff like that. Like, we got to be the grannies. We got to be the aunts. We got to be the uncles. We got to be the ones that,
But we outside. That's the issue.
We got to be outside with our sandals, with our shoes on, and like be in a community that we want to see. So that's what it really come to. And is if we gonna get these young boys out of that mentality and going out there and touching grass and seeing the real world, then we got to make outside somewhere they want to be. And that's the biggest problem is outside ain't nowhere where they want to be. We damn near don't want to be outside.
When we say outside, we don't mean the clubs. We mean
No.
hanging out
I
with your
think
peoples.
outside is like a third space because a lot of people have two
Exactly.
spaces, which is just home or work. But we don't have a third space, and a lot of times when that third space is the internet, and the internet is toxic. So you just sitting there listening to that toxicity, and then now you, like you say, you have a sense of community, but that sense of community is corrupted. So now when you go to the outside world, half of the stuff that you say online, you will never tell a woman in real life.
You don't.
And I think that's what crushes a lot of people now when they go to real life and then they ask a woman the same thing that they did online and they get turned down. Now they want to crash out.
Do y'all believe that the best way to beat these kind of situations is by creating your own media that's specifically focused on healing?
Yeah, I mean, when you gotta, like, I remember growing up, like, my dad was always telling me, like, be the leader, not the follower. And that when it's either the only reason that I was able to do that is because I was more scared of my dad than I was any nigga at school. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you may whoop my ass, my dad gonna beat my ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, it's easy. It's easier to confront somebody in your age group than it is your dad when it comes to certain
100%.
things. So it's like growing up, be the leader, not the follower. But it's not easy when you in school. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember jumping through different schools and, I had to fight or, I had to just be that kid that was comfortable being by myself. So, as time goes on, you get comfortable being by yourself, more people gravitate towards you and, kind of get used to you, speaking your mind and just want to hear your thoughts and stuff about that. So when people see that there's like-minded individuals that are okay with doing things that are so quote unquote outside of the norm, or what are expected of men, and they see everybody else comfortable with them men doing that, whether it's how somebody dress, how they speak, what they do for work, whatever the case may be, then they're gonna be more comfortable coming out and being their real self. A lot of these young men are just making these characters of themselves, and the sad part about it is like when that all come crumbling down, so what? Having a dad is very important, but I mean mentorship also is like you gotta have. I think the best thing is like you got to have discernment. You got to have discernment with the people that surround you. You got to have discernment with the people that you're talking to, because one thing we all realize when we get older is like, as when we kids, we think the adults got it all figured out. They go to work, they do their thing, they pay bills, they come home and cook, but they just little kids with responsibilities playing house. Like, you know what I'm saying? And when it comes to it, it's like, a lot of times, like even when it comes to our parents, we ask them about advice on certain things today. Like I can't ask my parents, like, how should I navigate a content creator career? Like they're gonna be like, nigga, I don't know, go be a plumber. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like certain things you gotta have the discernment to be able to ask, or have certain people around you that's doing something similar, and then going from there. So mentors could look like just the people around you in your direct circle holding you accountable. And you got to be comfortable being held accountable. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't want. They think it's an automatic attack to their character, but it's just an opportunity for growth. So, having my parents around is important, but, also like I said, like I was, growing up, you like not scared of my dad, like my dad was some monster, but it's just like, as I'm pretty sure it's the same amongst the diaspora. Yo, you do what the fuck your parents tell you to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it ain't no questioning it. And, sometimes even what they teaching you is wrong. And like you said, like I was talking about earlier, when it come to like going to school and things like that, that's all they know, because, my dad is the plumber, the electrician, the person that can fix everything and anything. And, he didn't want that for me. He told me about trade school and stuff like that, but he also like, yo, I want you to, see the world, do things that I never got a chance to do. So it's also dealing with the expectations of your parents in the last generation as well. So I think like as a whole, when it comes to like the top down, side to side, as our community, we got to give people the option to be themselves, be comfortable, let people exploring different things, and not necessarily like scaring them into doing something, not doing something that you don't think is going to work out for them, but questioning why they're going down this path. And going back to something that y'all said earlier, where it's like boys are easier to raise, like we seeing that's a lie. You know what I'm saying? Because the repercussions of letting young men run rampant, whether young men run rampant, they shooting up schools. You let young black men run rampant, they tearing up our community. So it's like, this is what happens when you let young boys run rampant. And now it's like, oh, you got to raise your daughters and you got to teach your daughter to be with respect. And it's like women confused because they like, okay, I did what I was supposed to do, and now the boys not doing what they supposed to do, so now I'm gonna do what I'm not supposed to do. And now the guys are like, well, we gonna do what we not supposed to do either. And now that's the breakdown of what's going on. It's like nobody want to do the quote unquote job they was given to do.
Even with like mentorship, right? It's easy to find mentorship for an occupation. Like everybody's doing what you want to do. How about character mentorship? There's nobody looking for mentorship for their character. Exactly. So we have men and women out here that have no character but have money, or have no character but have influence, or have no character or integrity but have these platforms. And it's like now you're trying to get to their position, but you don't know they compromise their integrity. Right. They compromise who they are as a person. And it's now like, who are we really following? You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know, this is going back to really like what I was talking about earlier about how they look at us to be financial providers. What do we really think that a leader is in a man? You know what I mean? Is it a financial leader, which can be an aspect, or is it somebody that's character that you can follow behind? You know what I mean?
I think this country showed us what that was. They showed us what they like, the strong man, strong arm in the president that we have right now. So it's like this weird divide that we have in this country where we want a strong man, but do we want somebody that's compassionate? Do you want somebody?
You don't think he's compassionate? No, you gotta tell me.
I mean,
Don't talk about 47 like that, man.
You gotta have to tell me.
It is
You gotta
what
have
it
to tell
is.
me how he's not compassionate.
I mean, for me personally, I think especially where we got to this in this country, is like the idea of like doing for yourself. This country was built on immigration. It was built on the idea that you're having give me your poor, give me your weak, or give me your whatever the saying is on the Statue of Liberty. And now we've gotten to the point where we're like, they're the reason why we're suffering right now.
Yeah.
And then also being like, give the billionaires a tax cut. That makes zero sense. So I'm going to go for the poor demographic who literally will pay taxes but never get any in return because they're illegals.
So what's the point of taxes again if we're in so much debt?
As a billionaire on this panel, I will say I do need my tax cuts.
You see what I mean? You see what I mean, right? It benefits.
But a lot of people do have that mentality. They think they have a higher probability to become a billionaire than to be a homeless person.
Yeah.
So they're like, yo, I'm gonna give a tax cut to the billionaires because one day I'm gonna be a billionaire and I want my.
You think that's the reason? Yeah.
That's highly the reason. I think
everybody think
Americans
they're
have
gonna
a
get the
high barometer of who they think they could be. And
Who
it's like,
you think you are and who you really are.
and it's like,
everybody's given the dream that is
you're
not
a
a real
regular.
reality
You're gonna
that
have
tells
a
them that you
regular
can't win.
life.
Is it the American dream or is it now the American disillusion?
Well, it's always the fact that they call it a dream. You had to be, asleep to, realize it. So it's like it was never nothing really obtainable to begin with if you weren't a man or you weren't white.
It was always the old house with the white picket fence. Good job, wife there, barbecuing in the summer. It's like that's ideally the dream that a lot of men want, that they try to sell you, for you to be financially responsible, where you could afford these things. And these things are luxuries, It's everyday things, but they're luxuries to some people that don't have these things.
To go back to the red pill conversation that you had earlier, this makes perfect sense because the red pill will sell this idea, right?
They sell you a luxury that you think you could afford, but you
and
can't.
they'll sell you a yacht party for $1,000.
But what does that have
Filled
to
with
do
OnlyFans.
with
That
the
is all a
difference?
lie. The whole red pill community is a lie. There's no red pill people walking around. If you walk around Deep Ellum right now, there's nobody there with red pill. They'll be like, yo, I just want to F hoes, and that it doesn't happen in real life. It happens
I'll
online.
tell you this.
Only.
It happens online,
And
but
it's a minority that a lot of people think all these men think like this. No men think like a red pill person. A red pill person is a loser, somebody who's sitting at home playing video games and watching porn and going to sleep and then waking up blasting things on the internet. They're
he's
not
better.
living amongst us. They are not that majority. They're a minority who are insignificant. And I think a lot of times people put so much this emphasis on these red pill people, and they don't move their culture like that. They're just there for the likes and the laughter. So me personally, I don't think that the red pill people are significant enough to even do anything. There's no. Well, we do have a red pill president.
So I mean, there's enough people to be willing to vote for a red pill president, right?
He's not a red pill president.
So like young brothers like Aiden Ross, right? Or these people that like that do conservative content.
Aiden Ross is Jewish. He got
And the joke. And the
He
joke.
got the Jews behind him, so that's where the money is.
Okay.
Why is that a bad thing?
Look, I'm not touching that. See, now you said you were talking about red pill content, and you speaking a little red pillish right now, Tyreek.
Aiden Ross is gay. He's not even red pill.
What does that have to do with anything?
How could you hate women when you're?
Yeah, he's gay. So.
But that's not the conversation. Just ask your question, man.
Okay, so this is the end, and we will continue this conversation later. As we can see, and as have you seen, who had the better ideas? I don't really care. I'm Emmanuel Angoy, and everybody else.
I got the better ideas. Just follow me. Let me be your mentor.